Hello, everyone. Oh, I thought I was.
I don't know. This is
the girls are fighting.
The girls are fighting.
They're fighting. Hello. Welcome to my weekly meltdowns coverage of Survivor. There, I said I got in there first.
There we go. Excellent. Wonderful introduction to the hot mess that is this podcast.
I'm just so used to it. I'm sorry.
No worries. First, before we get going, we do want to say hello to the people who are in our chat. So we do have quite a few people here tonight that I see. So we have Joseph Boza, Matt Henning, who's our wonderful mod, Stefan, a lot of talking between the three of them.
Yeah,
so
I was going to say, I think it's just three, but they're like really chatted up.
Anyone want papaya?
They should start their own podcast together.
Yeah.
Excellent. Before we get going tonight, I just wanted to have a brief moment just to send a lot of love to my really good friend Sam, who unexpectedly and suddenly lost her partner on Sunday. Sam has been she's been one of my best friends since I started college, and we're still very close. Her partner was a partner of 8 years, and they were living together. They just bought a house together. They had a whole life planned out in front of them. And we just want to send our love because we know that Sam tunes in sometimes, and just know that we love you and we're here for you at this time. But we also have a special guest here tonight and a really fun show. So we're also going to just get into that as well. So tonight, we're very excited to bring on from season 42 of Survivor, Omer!
A true monster in your presence. Hello.
Yes, a true monster. And we're so happy. I mean,
I'm flattered, so thank you for picking me.
Absolutely. Omer, how
out
are
of
you
all the
doing
mess
today?
magnets out there, I'm great.
There's quite a few of us.
Yes, there are.
This is the refrigerator of mess magnets. We're all stuck to it, so you're in the right place. Yeah, we're all here we are. We're moving.
I even changed out of my pea-filled scrubs for this, so yeah, what an occasion.
Gosh. Honestly, you probably should have kept them on because that probably
I didn't say whose pea either.
Oh,
a rabbit. Don't worry. It's always a rabbit. That's always the answer.
It's always okay. I was hoping you were going to be like, well, actually, we had I had an accident today, and we were going to get this exclusive about Homer wetting his pants at work. Wonderful.
I won't say if that's ever happened or not. We'll just leave it a mystery. Knowledge is power, and I can't give you that.
The knowledge is power advantage as to whether or not Omar has peed his pants.
I might be peeing right now.
I can tell you are. It's just there's a look in your eyes. Omar, what are your thoughts so far of season 42 in tonight's overall episode?
Season 42? 43.
Sorry, yes, 43.
You're stuck on the past.
Sorry, I'm stuck in the 43. What are the thoughts of your season?
Season 43 is actually, okay, so I think that it's been getting a lot of undeserved hate online. I'm not following everybody. Like, I blab on Twitter, but I don't necessarily read the hashtag Survivor 43 to find out all of the takes. Right. But I feel like in general, people have been a bit whiny, but I'm quite enjoying it. Yeah. I think that everybody on the cast is extremely likable. And, even when you've got these feuds going on, it's hard to always take a side when you kind of like both. So I think that the cast is overall quite likable. And so it makes it fun to watch, but also hard to see anybody go.
Right.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I'm enjoying it too. I love this season. I think it's great. I'm enjoying every minute of it. I actually look forward to every episode.
Good. You're right, Allison.
Thank you.
You know it. You should tell all the people on Twitter that.
I will.
We got to tell Tyler because Tyler's
beating the hell out of this season. Okay.
Wow. What do you hate about it?
It's no 42, you know what I mean? But no, really, that's kind of what I feel like we're missing here is yes, the cast is really likable and stuff like that. But I feel like when you like everybody, you kind of like nobody, I don't really have an active like rooting interest in any one person like winning the season. Like, of course, I think like Sammy is playing a great game. I think Carla's playing a really great game as well. But like I'm not like giving them my stand card or anything yet.
Okay. Wow.
I don't know if that's just because like the editing is so like even this season that it's kind of hard to tell like where the direction is going and stuff. But I don't know. I'm kind of like lukewarm on everybody. I'm enjoying the journey, and I'm so glad we have some like great things to talk about tonight. Because like Noelle, like fantastic episode for her.
Oh,
but
fantastic.
I just like I'm having problems finding somebody that I like really want to root for like a really solid winner of Survivor. Like Mary, especially coming off of Marianne last season. She
Whatever.
was such no, but truly, like she was such a different like social like player that like we like usually we root for like the nerdy like game bots and like strategists, and like yes, Marianne had that, but like her social skills and her charm were just like lightning in a bottle. Like, and it's really captivating to find somebody like that, and then to see them go on to win Survivor is like even more rewarding, right? So I don't know if I'm just still like kind of like reeling from that win last
it's hard
year,
to top a winner like Marianne.
Yeah, there's no Marianne this year for
I should
sure.
have told her to stick around for a bit longer.
Oh no, that would have been great. I think the issue that I'm having with the season is not really about the players. It's purely editing. Like we're not getting a lot of information that I feel like is really crucial. I know that Mike Bloom just tweeted this exact thought out, so I'm going to give the credit to him here too. But like, why did James like this whole blow up about voting for Ryan? Like, where did that come from? Like, we had no sense of that conversation at the well last week, right? Like, or like of Owen actually going through that, because as far as I remember, Cassidy was the one that threw the vote.
I was a little bit confused by that too, but I need to watch it again because at Tribal it seemed like they were talking about the last Tribal Council, but initially what James had said was Owen voted for me 2 times, once at the first 2 Tribal Council. So I thought this was all about like the split vote on Ryan versus James versus Dwight,
right?
And then but was it actually about this very past vote? Because to me, I thought it was about like maybe Owen was trying to blame his split vote on voting for Ryan and not for James when James says you voted for me twice or something like that. Like, I'm not sure.
I think that when he says you voted for me twice, I don't know. I think you're right that it had to have been not this past vote, but 2 previous. And it sounds like what we're missing is this part of a conversation where the 2 of them came together and James has probably confronted Owen and said, you've voted for me twice. What's up? And Owen, being on the outs, was looking for an in and basically probably did like a mea culpa. I would like to, I did that. Let's vote. Let's get on the same page. James tells him to vote for somebody. He votes for that person. I don't think he did though. That's what's just like so confusing is I shouldn't have to remember that portion, right? Like there needs to be parts of the storytelling that are filled in that we're not getting.
They're not showing. Let me tell you what they're doing. I'm going to break it
God,
down.
she's got the fly swatter out.
The fly swatter. Who's the fly? Is it Tyler?
It's Tyler.
It's always me.
Always Tyler over there.
No, but here's the thing. You're smacking Omar in the face.
I'm sorry, Omar. I'm sorry. Listen,
Who said I don't want that?
Hello, thank you. We're peeing everywhere and we're getting slapped. This is my kind of night. Let's go. Yeah. Listen, what they're doing, what I've noticed, and I've kind of picked up on, I'm glad you brought it up, is this is my opinion. They're doing this flashback thing, and I don't know if this has been around forever, but they basically they start the episode with, okay, we're in the dark. This is what happened at Tribal Council. And they're having their convos. And then they're having flashbacks at the water well. Well, this is what was really said. And this is what you missed. And we're going to show it to you now. Like it's some kind of freaking Scooby-Doo mystery. Okay. I mean, that's kind of how I feel. Like they're doing this, like, we got to fill this time in with some backstory, these flashbacks. Just show it when it's freaking happening. Because then we're wasting time having these conversations about, did I miss it? No. You didn't miss it. They didn't show it.
Well,
That's what happened.
firstly, I think my elimination on Survivor 42 was very much like Scooby-Doo as well, because I would have gotten away with it if it weren't for those meddling kids.
That's
But
right. That's how James
okay,
felt
so I've
tonight for
seen.
sure.
Oh, for sure. So there was a lot of. I think I've heard that opinion a lot. I was listening to RHAP with Christian Hubicki, and they also felt like we should know things kind of as they happen because the viewer is not a player, and the viewer should know exactly what's happening. However, I will play the devil's advocate here because Survivor's been on air for 43 seasons now. How many times have you, like Zach brought this up on the live know-it-alls, but how many times do you sit there when we had the traditional editing where you were just shocked and like, what happened? And maybe like leaving out subtle things that are very important to the storyline is maybe crossing, maybe not doing it perfectly, but like when Jesse reveals his idol that he had stolen from Dwight and Janine, that normally would have taken place in real time, but then now we never know what to expect. And like I think it's very rare where I'm sitting there on the couch, literally mouth open, look over at Marianne, her mouth is open, and we are just shook that this happened because we're so used to how the editing is. So I think variability and change and not necessarily doing it always the same way is what keeps the show fresh and us guessing and wondering what's happening. Now, there you have to balance that with letting everybody still have a succinct story, but I do like that they're taking risks in ways that don't necessarily affect the game itself.
I think that that's the key right there, right? So when they do flashbacks and they show little moments of, and they fill in the gap, that's fine with me. But there's gaps that aren't being filled in, that we're not getting flashbacks of, that we're just assuming, like, we're just kind of like, it's like when you walk in the middle of a conversation that other people are having and you have to try to pick up like what's happened so far, right?
Yeah.
And we shouldn't have to do that much guessing, especially post-merge at this point when there's so many advantages and idols and those kind of things as well, which I know Tyler's not a huge fan of personally his, you know, and I love if all the advantages are like in the pre-merge and then you have to, you know, kind of just deal with it moving forward. But I don't like that we're introducing different advantages and such in the merge as well. It's too much for an audience to keep track of unless you're a super nerd like so many of us are, which is great and I like that. But even the super nerds are having a hard time and going, wait, so Jesse has 2 idols, and so is Gabler's idol good now? No, it's not good. Okay, so then we have the steal a vote, but then we have this, but they all switched hands at that one time. Do they have them back? And like, there's a lot there that if you editing wise would be so hard to put together. So I think that, like I was saying this last week, I think we're still in early stages of what this new format of Survivor is, number one. So they're still figuring out. There were things that worked really well with editing in 42 that they're going, okay, let's see if we could do more of it in 43. They might have gone too far on the editing portion of 43. There were things that they didn't do editing enough of in 41, right? And so they're trying to counterbalance that, right? Where people are going, I didn't see Erica all season, then she won. What happened? So we're trying, and now all of a sudden we get to the final, 8, 9 or whatever, and we're going, oh, so everybody has a story and is being showcased in some capacity.
Who's the guy that in the cowboy hat, Tyler, that you don't like from past seasons? What's his name? Ben. Okay, because Ben. This is when I think Tyler and I
exactly who you were talking
about.
You know what
I'm talking Ben. I just want to hear him say it. Listen, when Ben found the idol under the bed or whatever, you know what I'm talking about.
And
they didn't, the rat, and they didn't show it. And he went to tribal and he pulled it out. And that's when Tyler and I hit a freaking wall because we're like, no. That's when it started for me. I was like, no, that I should have freaking seen. I can understand the other stuff, you know, everything y'all are saying, but that kind of stuff is when I really would get really upset because I was like, I should have shown Ben finding that because I was very invested in what kind of sniper crawl maneuver he was going to have to do. I'm invested. And they didn't show it until later. So that's where I get very upset with them.
Yeah, but I guess like
yeah.
so like all these moments that we're mentioning, right? Like
Mhm.
little sprinkles of like all these moments from past seasons and even like pre-Survivor 40, like pre like modern Survivor, right? All these moments are circled around advantages rather than moments from the cast, moments from the characters. And so I feel like producers have this really tough job of like balancing entertaining television and like all these like strategic like advantages and stuff like that, and it produced an exciting tribal tonight for sure, like the advantages, how it shook out and everything. But 9 times out of 10 watching a chess match on TV is not as fun as watching. Like my favorite part of the episode tonight was James and Owen going at it like in the middle of the tribe in front of everybody. Like when's like the last time we saw like a like when's the last time we saw that like that kind of mess? Well, I guess we saw it with like Ellie and Gabler and stuff like that.
Well, she could get loud too. What the fuck?
Right, exactly. So, like that's what I want more of. So that's why like I think this is the best episode of the season, in my opinion. This is the best tribal of the season, and it's not even close. And I really want to start talking about Noelle here, because like Noelle, she earns my MVP like 100,000 million% tonight. She used her advantage in a way that was so brilliant, because like the currency of like that advantage was actually more valuable than the advantage itself was. And I really love how she used that to kind of like reassure James that like everything's good. You don't need to use the knowledge is power. Like you're good. We're good. Don't worry. And she totally played him. And I love how she's the one that came up with the plan. She executed it first, and then she went and told the boys, here's what I did. Here's what you guys are going to do. We're good.
And then Sammy almost messed it up.
Yeah.
Sammy trying to have his cake and eat it too, for sure.
Oldest looking 19-year-old I've ever seen in my life. I'm just I gotta say this every night we do this show. I love saying that guy is not 19. There is no way. I want to see the proof at the whatever. I want to see it. But anyway,
well, I'm sure he has his birth certificate. He can post.
Yeah.
Well, maybe don't post your birth certificate online.
Well, I just
a little bit of identity theft.
I really love this concept of like using these small little advantages, like a vote steal, all of that stuff, rather than like using it. Like, how can I use it? How can I like barter it to like make the narrative go the way you want to? So I hope that like future players, if you're watching our show for whatever reason, please like try and think in this like Noelle like big brain way, because it's so hard. Like Stephen Fishback says all the time, like how hard like these types of advantages are to play well, and Survivor history is riddled with people not using them correctly. And I think this is one of the best uses of like one of these small advantages in Survivor history, and I'm very, very impressed with Noelle.
I agree. I think there's two parts of that I found very interesting. The first was like, you know, there's been 43 seasons of Survivor. How many times do you see something completely new? And Noelle's way to use that advantage and to not actually use it, but just to use the notion of it to neuter knowledge is power. We've now seen knowledge is power neutered 4 different ways. And knowledge is power, you know, stop trying to make knowledge is power happen. It's not happening, as they said in that one movie.
We could have a whole Ghost Island season that's just purely the knowledge is power. Ghost Island.
But I do kind of like that it was somewhat public for when James found it, because then it makes it a little bit more fair, I suppose. But Noelle didn't use her steal a vote to make a difference in terms of the actual mechanic, but rather the notion of that power. And I thought that was something innovative, something we haven't really seen before. And it's something that I wish I would have thought of in the moment. Like, hey, Jonathan, like we can share this. I don't nullify her if I hold on to it and then give it to you to use, so that we both share that move or whatever. Like that may have made him more loyal to me. So like having Noelle think outside of the box like that, I think it's amazing. And then also with Sammy's perspective, you know, it looks really dumb on TV for him to be like, let me go tell Carla now. But this sort of stuff happens all the time on the show. And, you know, sometimes you see it blow up in the player's face, like Adam on Winners at War, when he said, hey, Rob, I want my cake and I want to eat it too, by voting out Parvati, but having you in on it. Like, I'm looking out for you. Similar situation here, but it didn't blow up. And, you know, even speaking as a player, like there were times when we had to maybe blindside Roxroy, for instance, or blindside high. And then you're like, who do you leave in? Who do you leave out of the plan? And the more people you leave out, the more fallout you have later.
Yep.
But, you know, you have to really trust that that person's not going to blow up your spot. So it's like, in an ideal world, more people are in on it so that there's less ripples of your move. But then if you tell the wrong person, you're screwed. So I think it is a fine balance, and it happens more often than people realize. And they made it look very dumb on the show today, kind of, but I don't necessarily think it is just off the bat.
Well,
I think
go ahead.
I think the idea of that he's trying to do could have worked if he just had a little bit more finesse and people reading skills for this moment.
Although, I mean, technically it did work. Like,
it did technically. I mean, to be perfectly fair, like, it did kind of work, but at the same time, even if it hadn't, like, they already had the votes in the bag. So it didn't matter. It was more like, hey, just so you know, this is going to happen. I will say the one other thing that could have made this even better is if James had had the thought of, cool, I'm going to use the knowledge is power to do the steal vote to take Noel's plan and make sure it actually happens.
Right.
And then take it into his own hands and say, okay, that's a great plan, Noel. Thank you so much. I will do this just to make sure it happens, which speaks really well to Noel's ability to make him feel complicit and happy and feel like, no, we're in this together, which I don't know why he would think she was, since they have not been working together. I really think this is James, if he was really head in the game in this moment, could have absolutely taken that moment and buried both Noel and Owen at the same time.
But
I guess would it have been successful without Carla?
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing with that. Like, he could have, like, even used his knowledge is power to take Carla's idol away from her and just flat out guaranteed that he's safe, right? Carla still has her immunity that she won, which good for her, girl. Loved that. But like, he could have, like, guaranteed him and her both safe. So I really think James just simply didn't see it coming.
I think there's some, like, kudos for Owen in that sense too, in that by Owen blowing up his spot and, like, giving us some really good TV, it's the Sassy Owen era, but also, you know, creating this public display and this feud is a distraction, and it is something that will allow James to kind of hyper focus on him and be like, he's unhinged, he's drawing attention to himself, he's obviously the one that has to go. Like, people don't want to work with somebody that's that volatile, but in drawing attention away from him, he's forgetting about what might be happening to himself.
I feel like you're coming for me when we play Goose Goose Duck. Like, oh, people don't want to play with someone who's that volatile, and all I have to say,
because you're a liar. You look at me straight in the duck eyes and say, "I'm not going to kill you," and then you
as I slice your throat.
Yeah, literally. Sometimes you don't even finish the sentence. I will not kill, and I'm dead.
This other person.
The only person that thought for like a split hair second that James was going to throw his muff in his little buff
the buff in the
fire.
I thought you said muff.
He took it with his head and I was like, damn it.
It's been a long time since we had a Randy Bailey.
I need it. I was like, I need someone just, I don't know, just do it. Just throw it in there.
I really admired that we got to see kind of a raw reaction, because most times, obviously, and I'm assuming you would know the best here, Omar, when you get voted out, I'm sure that there's a lot of visceral reactions that you're, like, having either on the outside or on the inside or whatever. And then they're like, okay, let's have you do a little confessional over here. And then we're going to get you checked up by a doctor. And then we're going to, like, that kind of thing.
I mean, the whole process takes a while. Yeah, that's true. I would say that, you know, actually getting voted out, it was kind of like, I think a lot of people have described it where it's just like you kind of black out a little bit. Like, I kind of distinctly remember a few things, like hugging everybody, you know, saying I was Survivor confident and stuff like that. But then it also is a blur. Like, you're like, I got to get out of here. Like, what am I supposed to do? And for me, I thought it would be a visceral thing, but I was like, holy crap, they did it. Good for them. Because I didn't think they could. So the fact that they did, I was impressed. But I did enjoy seeing, I mean, I think it's hard though, you know, he went out with something that was so powerful. So, you know, and he could have prevented, and probably in that moment, he's like, I could have prevented my demise. And I do understand that to a degree, because if Lindsay had just played the amulet on me, I would have been fine. But that was less of a visceral reaction for me because that wasn't my advantage. Like that was for her to use, and she didn't want to use it on me to draw attention. Whereas he had something in his pocket he could have prevented that with,
Right.
and I think that that's probably very difficult.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have just a random question that I need to ask you right now, or else I'm gonna forget it. Do you have any insight as to why like Ponderosa is no longer a thing? I know there's
No.
like lots of chatter on Twitter and stuff about it, but
No, I don't know.
I
I miss those videos so much. Like I feel like that enriched like the Survivor like jury like journey.
The
and
experience, yeah.
My
Yeah,
favorite
yeah.
Ponderosa videos of the recent seasons were Winners at War. Like
Oh,
they
the
really
long ones.
oh my gosh. They were long ones too. But like
Yeah.
I'll never forget like and we all know I'm a Denise fan anyway, but like when she gets voted out, her Ponderosa, it's like everyone just jumps down her throat.
Yeah.
Really? I don't think I've seen that one.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
it was you should try to find it because it was so juicy. Like they all come out and it was basically like that meme of like the people like kicking the old man on the ground. Like they basically did that with Denise. They're like, "You're the oldest woman on the show. We're just gonna pick you up." Now.
Damn,
Like
that's
it was
kind of a violent
crazy.
meme.
It's a cartoon, like a cartoon meme thing. But it was I miss those kind of.
Aren't they
'cause then
doing
all of
like
a sudden-
self-shot ones now?
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
like selfie videos. So maybe they're trying to do like a TikTok format, but like I
Mhm.
like Survivor Cambodia, like those Ponderosas were
Those
like
were so good.
cinematic. Like I wanted to like go with Nicole Kidman to an AMC theater and like watch them on a big screen or something.
I think they are trying to
good.
appeal to Gen Z now.
I know.
Yeah.
We're getting old. That's the moral of the story here. Let's see. What else can we chat about? I mean, like, go ahead, Allison.
No, I was just gonna say it's like I feel like even if I don't mean it at all, because I'm a little pipsqueak, okay? My mouth is a lot bigger than my whole body. But it's like I really feel like if I got voted out of Survivor, I would march up there and just go ahead, Jeff, just go ahead, just do it. And I'd let him snuff my torch and I'd look back and I'd be, you see that smoke? You see that smoke? The smoke from the biggest threat Survivor's ever seen. You're
They should cast you. Put in your application.
She's what 4?
just so I can have that moment.
You're 4'8".
4'11".
4'11". Wow, that's a powerful little punch. You know,
Yeah.
really give it to him.
That's right.
You know,
but we joke about it though, because I've always I'm not a nature person, but I also kind of feel like you don't know what you're capable of until you're out there.
You could do it.
Like
you never went camping?
To me, it's like you're inspired. That's how you inspired me. That's why I was so touched by you, because I'm like, dude, I'm thinking about them dumping me off in the middle of the ocean, and I'm trying to doggy paddle my ass. Who can't swim
You doggy paddle, yeah.
I mean, I'm like freaking out, but I'm also thinking you never know what you're really made of until you're in that situation.
It does teach you that. It really does. It really does. And actually, going back to your previous point as well, I had forgotten to mention that I think, with leaving stuff out and not, I think the hard part now is that sometimes the strategy is so complex and so nuanced that it's very difficult to explain that succinctly. And even watching back 42, there were some things that were simplified greatly beyond what they actually were, just to make it more digestible, I suppose. But I think the other thing that hinders this sort of situation like today is the fact that you're doing 2 tribals in 1 hour, the same amount of time. You are now devoting fewer minutes when there's already so few to begin with to something that is so complex. And that's why I think the double boot at this stage in the game might not be the best thing, because you lose a whole round of strategy where you can fully flesh things out.
That's very similar to Big Brother. Like I always feel like they do like the double evictions way too late, and they skip over like the really juicy part where like the mid to end game is happening, like that transition, and like skipping over that is really tough to kind of just like yada yada over. And I feel the same way here, especially with all the like advantages and stuff and play and stuff too. Like that becomes like even much more pivotal when there's only 5 people at a tribal and all of that is going on.
I will say though, I feel like in your season last season and in this season, I have found both of these episodes of the double elimination very fascinating. Like they've been
Okay.
two of the strongest episodes.
Oh, very good.
And so I really like it. And I think especially for a season like this where there hasn't been a lot of interpersonal conflict, there's been a lot of safe voting. There hasn't been a lot of strategy. And part of that, which we discussed last week, has to do with the fact that I think that in a game like Survivor, the vast majority of the people have been fans for a long time, are used to a certain style that they've watched, or they've watched a different evolution and now have the kitchen sink thrown at them of advantages. And they know that everybody else there knows what potential things could be out there. So it's hard to play around it. So you play safe. And I think that what I was trying to say was that with Big Brother, there's so many recruits for that season in comparison. And I understand that Survivor's not exactly the easiest show to have a recruit on for, but it could potentially help to have somebody who really comes into their own on the show and figures it out as the game is kind of figuring itself out, right? As production does. So what's been nice about these double evictions this late in the season is that it kind of forces you to go back to pre-merge, right? So my favorite thing was they're all talking like, yeah, Jeff, all of a sudden it's just, it's just 5 of us. And we got to look around. I was like, it was just 5 of you in the beginning. So you're going back to the basics a little bit. And so there's a part of me that kind of found it funny that they thought that. But the other part of it was like, no, you're being kind of forced to stop hiding behind numbers and start thinking strategically at this point in the game, which will hopefully, like it did last season, spark a continuation of really fascinating gameplay and strategy moving forward.
I think it's also about the vibe of this season too. Like, I guess, you know what, though? Our early merge dynamic was a little bit similar in that people didn't really want, like, there was that power alliance of 7 or 8. We had 8, and then it went down to 7 when poor Lydia went home. But, that didn't really break up right away. Like, Chanel went home as an easy vote and whatnot. But I think where that comes from is, I could be wrong, but I feel like it's like when you have no tribal swaps and you're going into a merge only knowing 2 or 3 people, it's a lot more dangerous to make a move with people you just met and haven't gotten used to yet. So that's maybe also now a few days into it, we're starting to see more moving and shaking because there's more comfort in each other and more trust in each other than what you initially have when it's almost like if you step out into traffic when there's that many people, you might be the one to get run over. And I don't know if I agree with my Goose compadre on recruits maybe being better, but the only reason I say that is
I didn't think that they're better. I just think it could add some it'd be different. Yeah,
I think it's hard because like you have some recruits like Parvati, like Tyson, that have all this raw talent, but their first time they don't know much about the show and they still shine, but their better performances are subsequent visits to the show. But then there's many recruits as well who, for them, it's either not that important or they don't know it well enough and they play it very safe. Because when you start an experience like Survivor, like the first few days for us were very, at least for me, like I was thinking about the game, but it wasn't a priority because you didn't know how you would survive. And when you're in a very uncomfortable environment, and that doesn't really translate on the show where you don't know, you've been stripped of all comfort, all food, anything that you're used to, and you're down to your bare bones. And when you're down to your bare bones, it's hard to devote a lot of energy to strategy or nuances of the game. So that's where your instinctual knowledge of the history of the show kicks in, because if you already know it so well, then it can come out innately. But if you have to kind of learn it on the fly, but you're also trying to learn how to take a poop in the ocean, that is, I think, a lot harder.
I love that Allison just ever so softly just went aqua dump.
I've had very lengthy conversations about aqua dumps.
We love aqua dumping.
On air. Because
what do you want to know about it? Because our tribe talked about it more than any other tribe in Survivor.
Like, is there a designated area that you do it in, and you just kind of you just make waves?
Cody jumped into the water. You don't need to make waves. The ocean got the wings.
It just goes off to sea and
I
you
was
send it off.
very nervous to do it. I would be paranoid. I would be talking every day, trying to get, because Jonathan had done it in a lake before, so he would try to give me the mechanics of what to do.
Oh my
Marianne would be
God.
trying to talk me through it. It was a tribal discussion, and I was so anxious to do it the first time I did it, and it was so easy. Like, you don't have to worry about it. Like, it just goes away, and then, you know, some fish come, they may eat it or whatever, and it's like you're in a natural bidet. It's like, and also, like, truth be told, when you're eating coconuts and nothing really else, like, there's not really, like, that's not messy food, you know?
Yeah.
So it's just like,
Yeah.
it's like sometimes it was like birthing a rock. That sounds horrible, but it's true, because you're kind of dehydrated too. So it's
You
just
don't have fiber.
no fiber.
Yep.
But man, when you eat dairy pizza, no good.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
So can you remind me, because I'm forgetting, did you partake in the merge feast?
No, not the merge feast, but I had a bunch of pizza.
Oh, okay.
I heard after the merge feast, they all went on the beach, and I find that to be disgusting.
Oh,
I would never
absolutely.
go on the beach.
I have to say,
Whoa, hold it. No, back up, rewind. Excuse me. They all had that pizza and then dookied on the beach.
No, the Applebee's.
Oh,
actually,
whoa.
No, you know what? Mike and Lindsay also went on the beach after the pizza thing. They actually went twice before bed, and I was like, I am not going. I'm going to just like,
please tell me it was a respectful distance away so that people aren't trying to sleep while there's just.
I can't speak for Applebee's because I never got any, but for the pizza, like, I had no idea what they were doing.
They better been burying that like a fucking cat.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's like so gross because you don't have toilet paper. So why would you want to go on land and not in the ocean? Right. But the problem for the pizza thing was it was at night, and you can't go in the water at night. It's not safe.
Will they not let you?
No, but if I had to, I would have done it secretly for sure.
Well, you don't know what's in the water at night. You don't know what could float up to the surface. It could be a
I think the tide would be the biggest issue.
Yeah,
no, we never saw ocean turds again. It's gone. It's gone.
But with my luck, honey,
nature's flush.
Mine would show back up somewhere.
Fair enough.
And
everyone would know it was me.
How did it get over here? We're on a different island. What the heck?
Yeah.
It's gotta be Allison's.
Horrific.
I have a game mechanic question, but I don't know how to transition away from.
Oh yeah.
Let's
rip the bandage off.
No direction.
We're done with the shit.
All right.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
So Stay Noel did her steal a vote tonight and played the shot in the dark. Was she just lose only her vote? Or does the shot in the dark take away like the actual player's ability to vote, or is it taking away your vote?
I think I have some insight on this, and I believe it takes away your ability to vote. Okay. Because we did ask about this when it came down to Marianne, because we were always, playing out the scenarios. We're gonna tribe swap now. She doesn't have a vote, but she has her extra vote. Can she use that extra vote? No. If you don't have. Okay. If you play your shot in the dark, you can't vote.
So are you allowed to ask production those questions, or is you just got to figure it out kind of thing?
I mean, I think you can. Sometimes it's a little vague, but sometimes they'll answer directly, I guess. I mean, I didn't really ask too many questions because I didn't really have any advantages. So this is all kind of through Marianne. But
yeah.
You're like, had I had this.
I mean, I had one advantage and I was very clear on how to play it, and that was the problem. But yeah. I knew what I was going to do with it.
Yeah, I just I like we had talked about that like specific scenario a lot last season, so I just like wanted some clarity on somebody that might have a little more insight than us three fools.
Something, Tyler, I've noticed that you're not bringing up, and you're usually very eager to bring it up. So I'm going to do it on your behalf. I'm just going to show the draft.
Oh,
no. Because normally this is stuff. Tyler lost everybody.
You had a lot of faith in Coco.
I did. I don't know. Something about that, the red color. I don't know. Very
they were blue.
They were blue.
Oh no, sorry. I'm looking at Lindsay and whoever the chick is I picked first. I thought she was gonna be like she was gonna be like the second coming of Parvati. Like
he fully did say that.
Yeah. I was like she has it all. She's gonna like win this game, but
she did have an iconic most proud moment for sure. You
Absolutely.
guys remember that where she like broke her parents' car door?
What
I
happened?
love
She like broke. So they're like, "What moment are you most proud of in your life?" And she's like, "I borrowed my parents' vintage car and crashed the door in, and then
God.
but she figured it out herself, and she got a replacement, and she installed it herself. So she did fix the problem, but it's kind of an iconic most proud moment."
Well,
I miss that. I just want to go out on a limb here and just kind of rub it in a little bit
I mean,
because I
Allison's
can.
killing it. It seems like she might
Absolutely.
pull this one out. Is it winner takes all, or is there more to this draft?
It's just
always winner takes all. Yeah.
Boomer, I have won more Survivor drafts on this podcast than anyone.
Well, I mean, given this board, I'm not that surprised.
I mean, look at this. This is amazing.
Not
And-
Survivor drafts. You've won a
and
lot
he
of
immediately cuts to the patrons. Okay, I see how it is. I see you, Tyler.
This is a little bit more balanced.
It's more
our
evenly
patron draft.
distributed, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
I really could see
unfortunately,
any team winning this draft here.
Liza lost 2 people tonight. I mean, so did Tyler. Let's not forget that Tyler went out on 2 people on the same episode
Right.
going out, just to reiterate.
Yeah.
But Liza
Marianne
was
went out on
doing
her
really
draft
well.
today, too.
Did she really?
Yeah, she had Ryan. That was her last hope.
Yeah, so I agree. I could see, I feel like Cody does have a chance to win. I feel like Cassidy has like the least out of maybe Cass. I don't know. I feel like Stefan has probably the weakest team right now is what I'm trying to get at in
Right.
terms of winner equity. But that anything could happen. We've gotten a lot. Like tonight was actually a really big editing night for Cassidy. We got a lot of the backstory. We got her trying to make bonds with new people. I also think it was a complete mistake that they didn't vote her out after seeing James win out.
Ooh, interesting. Give us your take on why.
So there's 2 reasons for that. One, Ryan was a threat to absolutely nobody. He hasn't even won immunity yet. So yes, he's a physical threat, but he's also keeping you fed and he has no strategy and he has no ins with anybody. Right. So why vote him out? Number 1. Number 2, Cassidy and Carla and Jay were this 3-headed, snake, dragon, whatever you're going to call, right? So if you get rid of Jay and Cassidy, you force Carla to have to work with you then.
Right.
And you also then, Carla also then wants to turn to who? Ryan, who's not going to do much for her. So I think that from a strategic point of view, if you were Jesse and Cody, they just put themselves in this like situation where people are going to come after them, but Carla still has a really close ally to go after them with. Whereas if you disarmed her completely, I don't think she would have.
I think it's also hard because clearly we're seeing there's so many relationships that we're not being told about.
Correct.
So like even tonight, Sammy's like, I trust Carla more than my parents. And it's like, where did that come from?
Wow.
All
random.
of a sudden. Okay. So then how could we, I was going to say like, his kid, but he's a kid himself.
He's a child.
All he has is his parents. But then, so like, that came out of nowhere. So I never, going into tonight, I never would have been like, Sammy's going to ride or die for Carla here. But here we see that. And so, the consequences of all these moves, it's hard because, with such limited time, they haven't really explored some of these new relationships that we're seeing for us to be able to judge accurately, which kind of sucks for podcasting purposes.
It does.
But we can be judgmental regardless, right?
I'm here to judge regardless. Yeah. That's why I put a microphone in front of my face.
With an iron fist.
That's right.
I guess like my big question is like, where does Carla go from here? Like now that she's lost like both James and Ryan tonight, like does she try to like go like girl strong, like getting like Noelle and Cassidy on board to take out some of these guys, like especially since Carla still has her idol? Like I'm just very curious like what her path is moving forward now.
Well, let's also remember she does have an idol too. So I think that she is the best people reader on the tribe. And we also missed a secret scene that I think would have been way better a couple weeks ago when she explains the absence of the Coco idol to Gabler. So people are probably thinking, okay, so the idol is gone from Coco. Nobody has it. And the person who did know just got voted out. So I actually think that can be a benefit to Carla. But what we don't know is if other people do know. So I think
Coco
that
should know, but I guess now Coco's down to her best ally, so I don't think Cassie's gonna rat her out over that.
And I don't think Noelle is a women strong kind of person. I think she's just thinking, how can I get to the next place, right? And so
Right.
I don't see Noelle turning against Owen right now. If Carla's move right now would be to tell Owen and Noelle, Sammy almost spilled the beans. This is what he told me ahead of time, and try to pin the untrustworthiness on Sammy a little bit.
Right.
And then at the same time, we got a little bit of precursor to this. Understand that Cody and Jesse are running the show, and try to put the target over there, and basically come across as like, listen, I was James's follower, so I'm here to be a part of your numbers. I could absolutely see her team up with Owen and Noelle and Cassidy and have them be a 4. Sammy's going to try to play this middle, and I actually think that's going to be his comeuppance at the end.
Right.
And I think that Gabler, it looks like he could potentially be switching and not trusting Cody and Jesse regardless, which I think is smart for him, to be perfectly frank. He minimized his target so effectively, and nobody's talking about that.
I'm still wondering if he's going to be what's his perception out there? Like, is he giving 0 vote finalist, or is he secret genius that nobody's going to see coming? I'm not sure yet.
I don't know. I think losing finalists. That would be my guess. I don't know. Like, it's just so tough right now to see like where the direction of the season is going. Like, of course, like Cody and Jesse are like the big like power players, and in like probably the most solid alliance out of like any group of 2 out there. Probably. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah.
But I also think that like Sammy is probably playing like the best game, and I think that like his working relationship with Carla was really good tonight. I think that's going to serve him well, like especially like, you know, these guys have to start turning on each other like pretty soon. So I think like the more Sammy can kind of have a working relationship with Carla, with Noelle, like I think that's going to serve him really well.
Right. Now, I guess the other question was, you know, let's talk a little bit about Ryan's strategy. He's talking about like he's got these clams and he's all about provider. I want to know if he watched Survivor Borneo in quarantine, and that's where all of this is coming from.
Yeah. Listen, you watch that first season, it is about just providing for that tribe. I thought that was really, I actually love that he was like, I'm bringing all these giant clams with me out the door because I did. And I was like, you better work. Like I will always be a fan of a petty bitch. Like that is, I was here for that.
It. No, we love it for the TV purposes, but it's like, Ryan, people don't care about the food. The thing is, so I would say that, you know, playing the game, we get no food. You know, for the first half of the game before the rice came in, like, yeah, we were like, we want fish, Jonathan. We want fish, Jonathan. Like, get those breadfruit from up the tree. And it did matter earlier on. Although on some beaches like Vati, they didn't have any food, so it didn't matter for them at all. What happened. But once we got rice, like, it's too tiring to go out fishing anyways, although Ryan's still doing it. But once you have rice, you don't really need anything else, you know?
I would also say, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, but my perception is very similar to, and this is going to make Tyler very happy, what I'm about to say, as someone who actually doesn't really know the show too much. But I think the experience in terms of survivability is similar to being like the plot of The Walking Dead, where it's like at first it's about surviving and figuring out how do you adapt to this new environment? How do I get food? How do I, not get injured? What do I do if I do get injured? How do I do all these different things? And then you get to about the merge, and it's less about your ability to survive and more about your ability to survive in the game. So, or like what I assume from what I know from The Walking Dead, it is less about the zombie apocalypse and more about like the relationships within each other. Is that fair? Is that fair, Tyler?
I watched The Walking Dead. Fun fact: The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead title is a reference to the people, not the not the walkers or the zombies. Did you know that?
Wow.
Oh,
There is a whole speech that Rick Grimes gives. I think it's in season 4. Okay, look, I'm not going to nerd out, but I'm just going to tell you. He gives this badass speech right before a fucking tornado hits these people in a barn. But they're in this, they're sitting around the fire, and he gives this amazing speech about how we are the Walking Dead. You know, we're doing all this stuff, and look at how we've evolved and what we're doing. We are actually the Walking Dead. We're the threat, not them. They're just doing what they do because they don't know anything else. That's what happens when you're infected. But
Fair
we
enough.
know better. We know what to do.
Yeah.
So, okay. Since the
That's deep.
finale, the series finale is this Sunday, I'm just saying.
Wait, it's still on?
Girl, yes. And listen, I'm in an abusive relationship with this show that I cannot tap out of. It is bad. My husband and I were laughing today about he tapped out a long time ago. My son used to read the comics, and he lost his shit years ago and quit. I'm still in it. I'm 12 years into this shit. I can't. I used to cover it.
I like that.
I used to cover it. That was the first time I got. I mean, people literally came for me because I was like, listen, I don't know what happened to Norman Reedus, but I would have gladly loved if Daryl Dixon died at this point. And people are just like, oh my God, you look like E.T. and Reese Witherspoon had a baby. You know, they just completely like they would pull these insults out of their ass. It gets so personal. But yeah, I'm 12 years into it. It's this Sunday. I'm thinking about doing one of my old solo shows.
I think it's time that you know that it was Tyler who said that you.
Tyler thinks I look like E.T. and Reese Witherspoon had a baby. Okay.
I like this feud.
Yeah, it's about time. Also, does someone have a vibrator going on in the background every once in a while?
Oh, that might be my phone. I'll put it on.
Is it?
I'll put it on.
Mine's upstairs. It's totally not.
And I'm like, you know what? Anything to get through a show. I understand. We're all good.
Yeah. I get it.
Like one last thing about drafts, because I do have to give a shout out to Allison and Beth for giving me, I think, the best birthday gift I could have ever asked for. I did. Yes, it did come. So of course, you know, I didn't do too well this year, but for Big Brother 24, I had the best draft ever. So I got a
wow.
Draft.
Oh wow, you really did. Wow. So you're really making up for lost time here this season.
Yes. So when Allison comes to visit next month, I'm gonna wear this shirt out for like one of our days of shenanigans in New York City. So thank you guys for getting me the most perfect gift I could have ever asked for.
Listen, I got a shipment notification. I was actually sitting here today going, "Did that thing fucker ship or what?"
Here's the thing. In our little group chat, Tyler did say that he got the shirt, but it got mixed.
Allison never reads anything I say.
I thought I broke my arm the other day. I got sick. I have a little 1-year-old grandson running around. Life is very everywhere.
You don't look old enough to have a grandson.
I'm 45.
Don't look a day over 30.
Thank you. I'm going to tell you. Let me say thank you.
Stopped at 30.
I'm 32. So.
I'm 34.
But that's okay. Let me tell you something. That Instagram that ages you, that is bullshit. Because it told me I look 38, and I was like, "You Instagram? No, I do not."
That's a compliment.
38? I don't look 38. Do I?
Well, first of all,
33.
I have people who literally come up to me and still ask me if I'm in college. And then I have people who ask me if I'm 40. I've run the spectrum of ages and such. And so you're one of those other people, Allison.
When you're at one of these little carnivals or something and you decide to do the thing where they want to guess your age, don't show them your hands, because that is how they guess your age. Your hands,
I'm going to wear gloves.
It doesn't matter how much Botox, whatever you get done to you, your hands tell everything. I got inside the mind of this carny. I hope that's not that's politically correct. I'm sorry, but my husband, he does this fair that comes in town every couple of years, and I just went up to this guy and I just asked him a million questions, and he just finally broke down and said, "Yeah, it's the hands. It's totally the hands." And go away.
I like this idea of you cornering this man and just being
with
like,
the fly swatter.
You get the information. This is why you should be on Survivor.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'll get
Listen, we are fully on the Allison
it.
being.
I'll be in that water well. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
you
that'd
would
be
fit in
interesting.
it.
I would.
That'd be like the Grudge, no? Or
Oh,
no,
could
no,
you
no,
imagine the ring? The ring.
Yeah, I'd be the girl in the
Okay, there
ring.
you go.
I come close.
What's her name? Sadako. Look.
Samara. Oh,
It
wait.
Samara,
crawl
yeah,
out
yeah.
my hair, my face. I'm like, tell you, this isn't
I
on
was thinking
purpose.
Sadako because that's the Dead by Daylight version.
Yeah.
Outrageous.
Oh man, I would love that. Could you imagine the television's like Allison got voted out first, but boy, she made a splash in the water well. Of course,
I mean,
No, I'm
iconic.
contaminated that
I'd
water.
be breaking so many. It'd be so unsanitary. Someone would throw a hissy fit. It'd be, ew, she contaminated our water. Yeah, I did. Oh, and when you snuff my torch, I'll shit in that well.
That's where I took my aqua dump.
Dude, I farted.
Yes.
Tell you something. It was like a sauna when I was
Yeah.
done.
I love that she would
Bubble
just
bath.
be one-upping Jatia. Jatia was like,
Oh,
I threw the rice in the fire. She's like, well, I shit in the water well.
Well,
I'm here for it. That is
Listen,
epic
did you
behavior.
think that you were going to talk this much about poop when you came on the podcast?
I'm
tonight?
not surprised. I didn't think I would, but I'm not surprised
Good,
because it always
yeah.
happens.
Well, I would like to say that you started it, but you started the piss talk, not the.
I was thinking it, but you said it, so
There we are. There we are.
Mhm.
We're at it. Anything else that we want to discuss from this episode or the season so far?
I
I wanna
loved
know-
Noelle's mugging face.
Anybody want some papaya? That was my favorite moment of the show. They're
Really?
fully yelling, and she's getting her popcorn life just with a papaya.
Obsessed.
It's giving Libra from Big Brother being like, anybody want cake?
Oh, that's
It's like the
still-
Survivor version.
anyone want cake?
Oh, it was
Uh.
so good. It was so good. And she was just a whole vibe tonight. She had some incredible like
Truly.
side looks at the camera. She had a great
Exactly. The
strategy.
side look was great. I loved it.
Let me
I
ask
gotta
you
Gosh,
perfect
I
something.
would
mine
love
if
for
I-
Noelle to somehow
Yeah.
win the season. Like, especially after tonight. Like,
Mm.
I'm very worried about her position.
could.
But
People
She could.
underestimate her, though. I think she
Mhm.
could.
I think
Yeah.
she could too.
I'm telling you, Jesse's gonna win. I feel.
Oh, I feel Jesse's been my winner pick too. I
Thank
agree.
you. I really feel like Jesse's got it on lock. He's
Mhm.
not giving away too much,
Mm-hmm.
but he's right in it. And it's like, I don't know. I feel it like in my mind, I'm like, okay, we're gonna have a final three, and I love Carla. I feel like Carla is gonna make it right to the end, but then something's gonna happen.
Rob's
She's not
got
gonna
it.
be able to make fire because of her broken finger. Something terrible is gonna throw her out. We're gonna have a Sammy, maybe a Sammy, Jesse, Cody, or Gabler.
Mm-hmm.
One of those two is going to replace each other. And I feel like Jesse's going to be able, he's going to come
I
up and
feel like he's gonna win or go out next.
Jesse, I
'cause he
think
could be
that
Survivor
we should be
confident like myself.
very
Yeah.
we should be very nervous because we did see that the teaser for this week was
Mhm.
people going against James, and James did go home.
Hmm.
So they're not afraid to kind of tease out what might happen in the next
But he
episode.
has two idols, right?
He has two
But
idols.
if he has no idea it's coming,
Exactly. But Cody,
Mm.
Cody hasn't asked for one of his idol back yet. And so if he asks for it back and they both play their idol, I could see them saving, like, and being saved this next episode. But I
that would be
could
really
also
fun. That would
see
be like Parvati.
it'd be so good. It'd be so good. Or if Jesse was like, I'm going to play both of these idols for me and Cody and like pull the actual part
Yeah.
himself. That would be great.
Yeah.
Because I could see them try to split votes against the two of them.
If
They
you're
have the
on your-
numbers.
can you say, like, when you get your torch snuffed and you're on your way out, can you turn around and go, oh, by the way, Jesse's got two idols and Cody's got a stupid bracelet? Like,
I
can
mean,
you say,
I think you can say whatever you want.
can you? Okay. I'm just kind of curious if you can kind of call people out because they don't, I haven't
I think
seen
it's just like a lot of people are in such a blur in that moment
Yeah.
that it's not something you, unless you know you're
Yeah.
going home, you don't necessarily premeditate that. And then also, if you know you're going home, you'll probably just call it at a tribal.
Yeah, that's true.
I really
My
feel like
my only concern with Jesse in the end is like I just feel like he won't be able to give like a good final tribal council performance.
I don't know. I wouldn't count him out.
I don't
He's a smart
I
guy. He's a
think he
PhD. Yeah.
I think he's smart. I think he has the brains to do it, and I think he's played like an excellent game so far. I worry about the presentation of it all at the end.
I think what you would have is if you had, I'm just saying this is a final three. I don't think this is the real final three, right? But say it's him, Cody, and Sammy, or him, Cody, and Gabler, or him, Sammy, and Gabler, whatever. You have personalities who are going to be like, I did this and blah, blah, blah. Like, that's Cody. He's going to be like, I went in there and I tried to do these things and I had the model and I did blah, whatever. And that's
a Cody impression.
He's going to Matthew McConaughey his way through the whole thing.
So you're going to have that.
He is.
And he can sell something, as he is a salesman, and he also has proven that he has a good strategic mind too. But I think what's great is, like, look at how Jesse even tonight was like thinking strategically with Cody. It was well thought out, to the point, concise. Of course, we're seeing an edited version, but everything was calm, cool, and collected. I'm going to tell you right now, I would vote hands down for the person who can keep their cool under pressure and over the person who's loud in your face. And I say that as the loud in your face person.
Right.
Like, I would be the person at the tribal council being like, no, but also this, and I'm super animated and look at me. And I'm like, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's going to be me. And I'm going to lose because of that versus somebody who's going to sit there and be calm about it.
If Cody's going to win, I think he's got to take Jesse out at some point.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
I think if Jesse or Carla make it to the end, they're going to win. But
they're each other's like twin in terms of how they would do in a final performance, because they're both incredibly eloquent and like master strategic people, and I really think that they both give a speech.
It's like three pillars of strategy this season: Carla, Jesse, and Sammy, and all three of them are from like the different like starting tribes. So I would love to see like all three of them in the final three together and do their case for the win. That would be very, very satisfying.
My mind keeps pulling to, I believe Carla will plead her case. I think Sammy will plead, everyone, but I think, because you kind of sleep on Jesse a little bit, but I think about his past, and I think about, I believe when he was younger, he was in a gang, right? Like
he's been in prison. He's
been in prison. So he knows how to cover his ass under pressure. I mean, literally. I mean, this guy had to speak to survive in certain circumstances,
and has a PhD.
Yeah, and he has a PhD. So
defend yourself under pressure. And
this guy is going to shock us all. I feel like he's going to come out of nowhere and just knock us all down with what comes out of his mouth. Because if you want to talk about having to speak under pressure, and like I say, save your own life and do what you got to do to make a point, I think there's going to be something there that none of us will expect. I have no idea. And that's what I love the most about it, is you never know what's going to come out of somebody's mouth. And I hate to bring this up, but I played sequester in the past, and I was put in two situations where my back was against the wall and everyone was voting for me out. I had to give two speeches. Both times I flipped everyone to vote the other person out. Just because they didn't know what I was going to say. That's what made everyone nervous about me, was because what the fuck is she going to say?
Did you play with Tori?
Yeah.
I did.
You played sequester with Tori?
A mini against. Yeah.
But we also played in our that's where Beth and I met. We played with Michael from Big Brother 20. From Big Brother 24. He played with us too. He actually voted for me to win, I think. Not to brag.
Wait, did
I
you
did.
win?
Totally bragging.
Yeah,
Anyway,
she did.
I love it when people that you don't expect to do, and when they come up and they just shock you and knock you out of you, it's like you've been hit by a car and your shoes fly off. I love it. It's just I want to be hit by something so hard my shoes come off.
Well, the thing about Owen too, or sorry, Jesse, is that I think he designs surveys and stuff like that as part of his PhD, and that actually is weirdly a very difficult thing to do. And you have to be able to think of like everybody's perspectives for what questions to ask, how to ask them, What order are you thinking of every scenario from the people that you're serving? Like that takes a lot of organization and mental fortitude. And he is a PhD in doing that all the time. So I think that is something that's going to come in handy.
True.
And I also think that Owen is a dark horse. I could see him winning.
Yep. I think so too, especially after tonight's vote. I think that he gets on the right side of the numbers. He's proven he can win immunity. I could see him. I think he has I think the only person that was holding him back from really integrating was Jay. And I really think without Jay there, Owen just got a lot of social capital in the game.
And his position is actually very similar to Marianne's in that, he's a capable player who was at the bottom at the merge. And, now the floodgates have opened for this larger alliance to turn on each other. This alliance that's bigger has turned on each other for him to stay in the game. So now that people have started to show interest in working with him, it's going to and everyone's going to be like, the alliance has broken wide open. Now we all have to turn on each other. They're going to be looking to use him rather than vote him out of the game. And I don't see him going anywhere anytime soon. And I think he could heat up by the end of the game. He's not a big threat right now compared to other people. So I think he could find himself in a similar position to her.
What do you all think is the most entertaining top 3 that could possibly be?
I'm gonna bring the draft up just to have a visual of everybody.
That's good.
I'll tell you mine real quick. I really feel like a Cody, Jesse, Gabler. I don't know why, but that combination, it just seems like it's a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
I don't know. Or a Owen, Jesse. Well, no, I'm
Sammy.
sticking to my gun. I'm saying my Cody, Jesse, Gabler. I just really.
Most
God, I just can't. That's it.
I think Gabler, Cody, and Cassidy. I think Cassidy is a very entertaining
I
player
agree.
this season. And just the little sprinkles that we get of her, not a lot at all, but they are so fun. I love when she checked Ryan last week. She's like, what are you playing? This is stupid. Just stuff like that is so funny. So I could see her really holding her own in a final tribal and trying to present her case in a messy way. But yeah, those 3 I think are the most capable of a hot mess final tribal.
What do you think, Omer?
I think that for me, I like to see a final tribal where it's completely open and anybody could win. And that to me is what is entertaining. So you kind of want to have players that are somewhat matched in their gameplay and so I even think that Jesse versus Carla versus Owen are probably 3 people that people would be looking at to vote for. And they all have, Carla and Jesse have very similar game styles, but they're the alphas of the dominant alliance, whereas Owen is kind of the alpha of the underdogs. And so they all have a very strong case to make. I think you could also look at someone like Sammy like that, but Sammy is, right now he's stuck in a situation where he's in with everybody, but he hasn't been able to pull off any of his moves yet. So I think he needs to prove himself before that. But I think that with kind of Ryan going out, the field is wide open as to who could win. And, the last few rounds are going to be very interesting.
I think an entertaining final 3 has someone who can really stand their ground. Also has somebody who crumbles with the pressure a little bit and has somebody who is I like when the jury is strict with people, right? I like when they're I don't want them to be mean and bully people. I don't want that, but I do like when they try to they hold people accountable.
We were pretty strict.
Yeah. I really think that Noelle would be so fascinating to watch in a final 3 because she, I think, has a sharp tongue, but I also think that she easily gets people on her side. I think she can be persuasive, but I also think she could potentially rub people the wrong way too. So I think for that reason, the drama of having her in the final 3 would be so fascinating to watch. I think that I think that Sammy and Gabler give me the same vibe, but I would go for Sammy here, where again, he's sitting here this entire season and going, I'm trying to hide my real age while fully just acting his age. And
Not that
seeing
hard to
that in a
hide, dude.
final 3 situation, I think would be really entertaining. And then I think that for me, having the person who's incredibly well-spoken and will be able to really articulate their game would be fascinating. And I think that Carla would be the most fascinating there. So I think my 3 would be Carla, Sammy, and Noelle. 3 very different people, 3 very different games from 3 different tribes in the beginning. I think it could be very entertaining.
I feel like Carla would shut Noelle down.
She would. It would be so good, and we wouldn't expect it. And that's why I think it'd be so fascinating.
And maybe that's her game-winning move. You know what I mean? Like presenting to the jury that like, no, I wasn't, like I was actually in control of this whole game. I just let all of you guys think that along the way.
I think Cody, Gabler, and Noelle might be fun too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Excellent.
Which one was your favorite tribe overall?
I mean, who didn't love the hot messery of Baka?
Yeah, I was about to say, who was the worst? The one that, that one.
But they only lost one person. That's the best part. It's like they were such a hot mess, but like they actually kept it together after going to tribal first. And that first boot was like absolutely ridiculous. Like there's no reason that Mariah should have gone home.
It should have been Gabler.
It should have been Gabler. If somebody goes, you know what, guys, I'm not going to play it and blah, blah, great. Thank you for the invitation to vote you out. That is what I'm going to do.
Yeah. I truly think that Ellie is like number 1 with a bullet, like for to return on another season though. Like out of anybody from this
I think
cast.
that would be a great choice because she was very entertaining, and actually I think
I want to see her
a little bit underrated. In that, the thing is like everybody looks at Ellie and this season they're like, oh, like she didn't know what was going on, blah 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 blah. But the thing is, like, she was pretty good at the game. She just had the wrong read on Sammy, and Sammy undid her whole game, and then it played out over 5 episodes. It's not like, she kind of took a wrong turn at one point and then went down that path for several episodes.
Yeah,
but it's like it's not like it was like multiple wrong turns necessarily.
Right.
Who do you think from your cast would be most likely to return for another season? If you're comfortable, if you're comfortable
Marianne. I love
Marianne. She's like obvious.
I think she would play again too. Like, you know how like some winners are like, I've done it. Like, I don't need to do it. I feel like Marianne would do it just because she just loves to play Survivor and would just
I would not be mad to have her smile grace my screen.
I think they should. I'd be really happy if they asked Zach or Jenny back as a second chance too. I think that they would do really well.
Good choices.
Jenny was so heartbreaking for me. And
it was my fault too. So sorry.
Oh, there you go.
True.
No, I'm in a couple different drafts, and I had a random pick a card kind of thing, and Jenny was my pick a card. And unfortunately, I did worse this time, and my random pickup card was Mariah.
Oh no!
So I'm doing really well.
Season 44, but with Jenny, I thought you was first of all we had masks on for the first 2 weeks that we were all together, so you couldn't. You had this idea of what everybody looked like, and then they took it off, and you're like, "What the fuck?"
That's not what that was at all.
Legit thought that Jenny was mid-20s.
I mean, she
I was
looks
wrong.
Gorgeous.
I know, I was shook. I was like, wait. She can't be the older person on this cast. She looks so young even without the mask. But that was crazy.
Absolutely.
Stefan in the chat brought up a good point. He said, back in the old days of Survivor, Gabler would have been the first boot because the older people would get kind of booted first. But then again, you got to think of some of it. But, to give Gabler, he's being nice by giving people blankets while they're napping when they don't necessarily look like they need it. Look, dude, I was finally asleep, but thanks. Like, he's trying to be nice, but he's pissing you off. But it's like other people, like, they just get annoyed and they're hangry and they're just bossing people. Look, I'm 45. I'm around older people now more than I care for. And, these older men, they get bossy and grumpy. And I'm going to vote your ass out. Bye. But I think Gabriel's done a good job being the
Don't want that
older,
palm frond
and staying. But
You don't want that palm frond on you because there's so many holes in it. The wind is still going to go through, and they're full of ants.
I was just gonna say, there's lots of bugs on them. I'm
There's
imagining.
a lot, and I was surprised by that. I thought they wouldn't be on.
Also,
They're
what is
everywhere.
up with this season? Every time they showed Janine, it was like ants all over her the entire time. I was like,
Oh,
what
poor
is it
Janine.
about
Well,
Janine?
she was the Charlie Brown of the season, so
She was.
nothing had to.
I know.
Nothing bounced her way. Poor
I hope
thing.
she had a really nice Ponderosa.
that
so
chin just
too.
Too
killed
bad
me.
we won't see it.
Oh, it was terrible. I felt so bad. Every time I saw her, I was just like, I would touch my chin. I was like,
I wonder how she would have done on our season because she
Bless
was
her
out there with
heart.
us. But
Mm.
No. I'm
Got
telling
thrown
you right
away.
now, and I'm being very honest, if I were to ever play Survivor, I would want to be, if I couldn't win, I'd want to be the first jury member so that I could
Really?
get, oh yeah, I get to be on every week. You get to see my little face. It'll be a close up of my face every week. I'm
Wait,
a
would you
Leo.
just want to make it to the finale then?
Well, that's what I said. If I couldn't win, if I
yeah,
if,
that
like,
doesn't mean
You
you're
win,
going to get
but, like, what about
airtime.
second, third,
okay,
fourth.
okay, whatever. So if I'm not in the finale, final three, whatever, I would want to be the first juror because then again, get the close up. It's like, I look hot now. What's up? But also, you get like basically this like, Fijian vacation for a lot longer, and you get to eat,
Yeah.
and then you get to come back and be like, oh my god, popcorn! I got the unedited version of what's happening for the rest of this season. Like,
No, because I think there's so much FOMO. You don't want to be on.
That's
the jury
true. Yeah,
first.
yeah.
Mm.
No, because
It's better in concept than in actuality.
yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I don't want to be on the jury unless they go back to putting it back in a studio and I get the makeover. Okay,
Right.
because at that point, I want the fucking makeover. I've put the time in. Give me the makeover. That's it.
Yeah.
I love. Excellent. All right. Anything else that we need to discuss tonight before we wrap it up?
I'm still
No,
stuck on
great season.
Ryan trying to hide his age.
Ryan?
when
Sammy?
Sammy. And I'm like, you look 33.
He doesn't look 33.
No, he doesn't.
You look 23.
Well, that's what he's trying to go for.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
True. I actually think people are like, oh, that's a bad idea that he lied, but I feel like it is a good idea to not say you're 19 because people don't respect a 19-year-old. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna say that.
Mm.
Like in a game like that, they won't.
That's true.
Yeah.
He has commanded respect very well. Like
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
he's not like presenting himself as 19, but like even still, like he has such a young like and youthful demeanor about him. It's just very cool to see him like really like just be in like the driver's seat of like a lot of the season at such a young age. I don't know. If he wins, I will be very impressed with this win.
Mm-hmm. I think
There's not
so.
many
I think
people I wouldn't be impressed with if they won.
yeah, I think the season has pretty good players, but I think Sammy and Julia Sokolowski are the best teenagers that have played Survivor.
I agree. Julia was a
Julia
really
was
great
great.
Survivor player, and she has the best intro shot, in my opinion. Best intro shot of.
You know
like,
what that's
Survivor
like.
season. I know, right?
Right? You deserve an
knowing.
intro, Omar.
I
When
agree.
did that stop?
And all the fan intros that were made are great, but the ones they had of me were like shitty. So
No, because
Ugh.
we don't get the intros anymore because we get Jeff
yeah.
talking into the camera. Guys, this is never before seen footage. I'm walking in on him right now. I don't
Wow.
want to see that. Wow.
my
That's
favorite
just-
Omer, what's your favorite Jeffism?
They asked me that in casting.
Oh, did they really?
Oh, really?
Oh, my God.
Or it was no. Maybe it was on pregame when you do your like video package of he's like, what is your favorite Jeffism? Say it. And it was definitely like when he sultrily says all of the fixins and whatnot, like
Oh, all the
chicken.
All the
chicken. We got
Like licks his
chicken.
lips, like starts to be seductive or whatever.
And
like,
then
I like
and
that.
he's like, yeah, chicken.
yeah.
I just love it whenever he says you don't want your balls to drop or your balls
Yeah,
are going to drop.
that's a good one, too.
Anytime that anything has to do with him talking about dropping balls,
Oh, last
Allison's
week was
invested.
Allison and I were dying last week, and he was like, longer the pole, the more difficult it is. And we're like,
Gotta
And
grip
he's
that
like,
pole,
"Your
guys."
Is your ball gonna drop? And we're like, My favorite that I always make fun of is when he goes, dig, woman, dig.
Yes. That is a good one too.
Dig, woman, dig.
Yeah.
I hate his pirate accent though. That did come out tonight.
Oh my God. What was that? When he's introducing the challenge. Guys. And we're like,
Not great.
guys.
He's losing it. He's losing his marbles. I'm telling you. I'm telling you right now.
I
He's
still
losing
love
his
him.
marbles. Even big difference
Love
between
Jeff.
42 and 43. Yes, like bless his heart. I hope he's okay.
He's
But,
actually like such a nice guy.
oh, I'm
Yeah, of
sure.
course.
Necessarily like see that necessarily, and also everyone can be like, oh, he swears a lot. But I mean, he does, but like so do I. Whatever.
Yeah.
I swear
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot.
I would love to meet Jeff Probst. I'd love to
Wow.
get him drunk and just let it out. Man, just tell me the truth. Let's have a therapy session, you and me. Just tell me.
I
Let's go.
love that Stephen Fishback
Dig,
in particular
Jeff,
has
dig.
been has been pointing out my favorite thing, which is like, I love when Jeff has to ask questions that are like about basic human emotion behavior and such. It's like, so you're crying even though you won the challenge. Tell me what's going through your mind right now. It's like, I'm very happy and that moved me to tears, and also I'm exhausted. Wow, okay, great.
He was really loving the drama tonight at Tribal Council.
Oh, I bet he
was-
lives
He was
for
like,
it.
finally.
Like,
His eyes were like this, and that's how you
fans
know
it.
Jeff.
keep the camera
Fans.
above the waist. Like, I don't want to know.
That's because there
how
was
excited
drama
you are.
tonight. He didn't have to ask them on a scale of 1 to 10. How safe are you feeling tonight?
And then
have
they all were
literally
like,
everybody
and
answer
then
the
nobody
same
gave
number.
a number answer, and they were like,
Yeah.
very.
It made his job easier.
I love it when he like points out certain people when he's in, and it's like, I would be like, Jeff, why, dude? Like, why are you asking me questions? Like, you're gonna blow up my game right now? Like, why are you pointing me out? I said shit.
That's a question we can ask Gomer, and then we can wrap up. But like, does Jeff let you, like, when you're in the hot seat at Tribal, like he doesn't let you get away with like a so-so answer, right? Like,
No, he does. I mean, I feel like from what I recall, he didn't really call that many people out. I think he only called one person out on their crappy answers, but they were like, he was like really nice about it. Actually, he's like, okay, but like I need you to like give me a little bit more there. And he's like, this is maybe how you do it. He was actually very helpful. And like he was very nice about it. But I'd read like he can be cutting, but then like that person like listened to him and like gave what they needed in terms of like a good answer, and then it was like done. Like that, never heard anything about that again. But he I found what I was surprised by was that I thought that you would get called out for anything you do that's like a little shady. Like I remember one time I rolled my eyes at someone and I was a little bit worried he would see that and call me out, but he didn't see it, so he didn't say it. And I thought that somebody would be like watching and then like putting it in his ear and being like, he just rolled his eyes, ask him about that. But I think if he doesn't see it, he won't say it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And I never felt like I thought his questions were actually quite vague overall. Like I never thought, like I never got the impression when he was asking questions that he was trying to blow up the game.
I've never gotten that vibe.
I thought that's what it would be because it's like a TV show.
Right.
But I felt like it was, if you could cover your game, it was easy to do that with the way he asked questions.
I really think that if I ever made it on the show, and I've never auditioned, I probably won't, but like for whatever reason, if I ever am on the show, I would so want to be Angie from Philippines to be like,
cookies.
That we can have cookies.
You should do it because the way you lied to my face about killing me in GGD, like you could do it there.
Just cookies. Good to go.
I think cookies. So when you answer Jeff's questions, you could give a bad answer, but if your bad answer is like so bad it's good,
they put it on TV.
Yes.
Oh, I'm going on for a meme. Some people go on for $1 million. I'm going on for the meme, and I'm going to be like, how many gifts can I have? How many like? No, I'm just kidding.
I already have Beth's meme planned out. Like she was talking one night about if I was in Tribal and somebody, I'd be like, I'd stand up and do all that, and I'd say this, and then I'd go, what?
It what?
Yeah, and I'm like, that is your meme.
Could you
love that?
It what? I'm a really tough white girl from the country of New York.
Right.
The country of New York. Love that for you.
Well, the rural country, not like
the country. Like you're a country mouse. Wait, did you watch Country Mouse and City Mouse? That's what I picture. No, it's a very good show.
Well,
Is
all
that
I
a
have-
Canadian show?
It must be a Canadian show. Sure, kid show though. But when we were kids,
Of course, not yesterday when you TiVoed it. What is this? 2004?
All right, calm down with the TiVoing, because some of us might accidentally still say that shit.
Yeah, us old people.
My favorite is I DVR'd it.
isn't that what it still is?
I think
I know,
DVR's
but my
fair.
son's like, you did what?
Lol.
Lols.
Well,
Oh,
I just
gosh.
want to say, Omar, I'm so happy that you
Well, thank you
came
for
on
having
with
me.
us.
Oh,
I
yes,
appreciate
thank you
it.
so much.
All I gotta say is, if Jeff ever called me out for rolling my eyes, I'd be like, honey, I'm from the deep south. You're lucky. Rolling my eyes. That's all I've done.
See, you would get on the show. I don't know why you haven't
We're
applied.
so filthy down here because I'm too busy trying to get on that other shit show, Big Brother, that it just
No,
consumes
screw
my
Big
time.
Brother. Big Brother is not where you want to go.
No, well, obviously, because
Also,
it's
my
been
Big Brother
20
hot
years, and
No,
you
you
know.
need to go on Survivor. They'll cast you immediately. And my Big Brother hot take, because Libra was mentioned earlier, didn't care for the Libra Keisha Memphis alliance.
Oh, yeah,
Really?
the alliance.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said the same thing. So they showed me BB10, and
Yeah.
we reviewed it a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And I said that I didn't think that was a great alliance. That I didn't.
It was not a great alliance. It was not a great season, in my opinion.
I
And
do
also-
remember at the time, like rooting for like Michelle and April and all. And all
I
those
mean,
people.
I wouldn't say that they were angels either.
Oh,
No,
but,
of course not.
You know,
Big Brother
there were
OTT.
no angels on that
We need-
season.
let me just say that Mr. Spectacular is not my character that I would normally root for. However, he was actually right in that argument.
Oh,
that we were
yeah,
having
he was.
at the birthday. So
What was
whatever.
a year or two ago? We had Rennie on the show.
Oh,
my
yeah,
God.
Rennie. Dude, no. We could.
Bless her so much. She could not figure out the technology. So what? Can you hear me?
I had her like Omer. I had her like on
The
speakerphone
hold up to the mic.
like, to the mic, and she's like, "What are you saying? Hell,
Oh my God.
I know my
Don't
time
read it.
zones, dude."
It was
Yeah,
so
what-
good.
You don't have my phone number on the screen, do you? And we did, and we had to go back and edit it out.
It was so hot mess. It was so funny. It was
But we
amazing.
did-
was
we
one of
did
the
get a
bright
good
spots of
inter-
the season.
Oh, absolutely. We did get a good interview with Brian Hart. He
Okay.
he recapped like his time. And it was actually a
Very
really
short.
cool like.
Yeah.
Right, but like he actually provided a lot of
One day.
insight to like the Big Brother house and like what
Oh,
that
yeah.
is like and stuff. It was cool.
Yeah.
Do you watch Big Brother Canada?
Yes, I do.
I
Except
mean,
I
he's
didn't see the last
Canadian.
season.
Do you have any hot takes for BB Can?
I'm impressed. It took 1 hour and 27 minutes
about
for
to say,
Tyler to come
listen,
up
I
and
waited.
mention BB
Okay,
Can.
so
I
I
waited.
did not watch the last season, but I am
Okay.
planning to binge it.
Very good.
What a hot take. I don't know if I think I have common takes for BB Can, but I really liked season 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Hmm.
I hated season 7. Season
Yeah.
6 was okay.
Yeah.
Season 8 was a hot mess and got canceled. Season 9 was pretty good, but that was actually like I saw half of it before Fiji, and then I had to finish the last half when I got back.
Oh.
I think the last thing I found out was that Jedson had to use the veto on Beth and then went home.
Yeah.
You
And
remember
then we were-
Suzette?
Yes, I do remember Suzette.
I played with her my first time I played Sequester. That is the bitch that got me out.
Wow.
I tried to work.
She's not
like,
better.
Oh no, but like she gave me nothing and it killed me. Like I tried to crack her. Like we were in a room together. I was talking to her and she was just like not.
You know what's
It was
very
like-
interesting about that is I went to a BB10, the BB10 Canada finale party,
Mhm.
and Suzette was there, but she didn't try to talk to me, so I don't really.
Yeah.
She didn't give me anything either. So
You're
it's
fine. Don't worry about it.
Poker face.
So
But if I ever
my,
see her now,
You wouldn't
I'll
know if
confront
she
her
did
for
like
you.
you. You wouldn't know.
So my BB can hot take is that I think if they did like a proper All-Star season, I think Kevin Martin could be the first 2-time Big Brother winner.
I don't think that's a hot take. I see it. You know who's actually
I could see him
extremely
doing it.
personable is Godfrey. He's like one of the funniest
Yeah.
people I've ever met in my life.
I could see that.
He seems like it.
He had kind of an edge on the show, but he's actually like very sociable, very charming, very fun to be around. I think he'd be great on any season. Love Godfrey.
Yeah.
I mean, I love his iconic, I want your blood on these hands.
And then the jump out of the chair. I love it. I love it.
So good.
Okay, that's I could talk BB Can all day, so I'm just gonna stop.
Omer, thanks again for joining us. It was so nice to have you, and you are welcome back anytime if you ever need an outlet to talk about Survivor, Big Brother, anything, poop.
Always.
We've got you covered.
Animal poops, etc.
Listen, I think we could do that. Would be a show. Which animal poop is this Survivor?
Oh,
wait,
yeah.
That's the poop?
There you go. That's my grandson. 100% judging.
So are you? It's the same face.
And then Sora is Tyler's dog, who's I love this one.
I love that dog so much. That dog is like
Thank you.
It's cute. I'll say it's cute for a dog. How about that?
You know, if you spend enough time around animal poop, I will say I have 4 cats, and I'm running they're all geriatric because they're all over 11. Yeah. So I am running an old folks
11
home.
Is not geriatric.
Well, that's what my vet told me. Geriatric and elderly. I've got one that's 20.
I'm going to listen to Omer.
I've got one that's 20. Let me tell you something.
You know what? An 11-year-old cat is like a 43-year-old human.
So that's why we are on the same page with those. But listen, I got an 11-year-old. I got 2 11-year-olds, a 13-year-old, and a 19-year-old. And I have 4 cats. I have 5 cat boxes. But you would never know because I'm very anal about scooping my boxes and keeping it clean. But I can tell you, I know which cat turd. Like I know,
one.
I know.
I buy that. So wait, you have 4 cats and 5 litter boxes.
Mm-hmm.
That is correct. How did you know that? That's the number.
You add one for rule. How many cats that you have? Right?
I have a spare in case they can't get to where they need to go, and they use the spare. Because let me tell you, the
rule is always the +1.
+1. You don't want to clean that up. No,
it's also because litter boxes become territorial, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
you know, rabbits have the best poop. Truly.
What defines a good poop?
Does it not stink?
It's dry, circular, easy to clean up. Very, very dry. Like I would never pick up poop with my hands, but a rabbit poop, I wouldn't really care.
You're like, whatever.
Tyler's in hell.
Yeah.
I look over and he's just like,
welcome to Survivor Palau.
Right? Yeah, that's true.
That wasn't overrated. Oh, most overrated season to Survivor Token Jeans. Sorry.
Mic drop. I'm going to be brave and say this. I have actually never seen Token Jeans. It's one of the 4 seasons seasons I've never seen.
So haven't seen more than just 6 episodes. That
what?
Marianne hasn't seen.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, okay.
Here we are.
You should watch it. It's just not that good. I can't believe you haven't seen this one. Wait, Token Jeans you haven't seen? What else?
I haven't seen this one's the other one that I haven't seen, which is crazy, is China. I've never seen China, which is like, I know it's like one of the best ones. I know. And Gabon. Those are the 3.
I love Gabon.
Right in a row.
One of my favorites. Okay.
But I've seen everything else.
Gabon is an Allison season.
You watch those, I'll recap them, or I'll come talk shit about them.
Let's do it.
I'm all about doing some rewatches because we're about to be in the holiday season.
I love Survivor Gabon and Survivor China. I don't care for Survivor Token Jeans, but it has its moments.
Henning, do you know this? Henning is acting like I've never seen China when I've mentioned it like 6 times on this show. And Matt has been asking for a China rewatch for a long time.
You know one that I know, Taiwan. Was that season 5?
6.
Thailand?
5.
Thailand. I'm sorry.
Taiwan.
I'm an
That-
idiot. Look, I'm in this.
Canceled.
China
know.
didn't allow it though.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite all-time seasons.
Thailand.
Thailand?
Thailand.
Are you
I love
joking?
Thailand.
That
What?
is the biggest
Oh,
hot
this
take
is
I've
so
ever
Allison.
heard.
Like Allison, like her like she has a lot. Bless her
I'm
heart.
a Big Brother
She-
encyclopedia, but
Right, but for like very like weird things that like nobody else remembers, like Allison's favorite Big Brother season is BBOTT, and she like references it all the damn time. And then for whatever reason, like Survivor Thailand is like the one that sticks out in her.
they were pissing on the beach. Speaking
Survivor
of which,
Thailand
being on the
is
beach.
underrated, but it's like not very good.
It's also
It's
you got
not.
like fully racist people on the show.
Oh, it's in its prime of sexism, race. It's terrible.
Oh yeah, it's horrible.
Oh, yeah.
Horrible
No,
people.
it's
People are all
awful,
up in
but-
arms about Survivor Island of the Idols. Maybe they should have learned their lesson
That's
in
true.
Thailand.
Yeah.
That is very true.
That to me was the turning point that I think of the show for me when it kind of changed and it turned, that's also my son was about almost 6 when that season started. So he was really getting kind of into it. But to this day, the one person that he remembers is Rupert.
I shouldn't say that.
I know, right? And he's like that was his favorite when he was little. And
Never
now
mind.
that
Forgot that was on the air.
No,
No,
you're
no.
fine.
I
Because
didn't hear it.
He's 26 now, and he's like, whatever. But
Yeah.
it's just to a little kid that's like, ooh, he's like a real pirate, and he's doing the piratey stuff, and he's
Yeah.
anyway.
The ego grows 2 sizes too big. Sorry.
Mhm.
Moving on.
Yeah.
So Thailand actually had one of my favorite loved one visits of all time. Do you know who it is?
Okay,
No.
damn it, hold on, my mind's a blank. Okay, okay, wait a minute. Who was involved in the loved one visits?
Okay, so Brian, Clay, Jan,
That's as far as I
Helen, Ted, and Jake.
Okay, the older guy. Okay, was it the older guy?
There was 3 older guys.
I know. See, exactly. Back then, you had multiple elderlies like me. So no, I can't remember. Tell me. But once you say it, I'll remember.
Okay, my favorite. Well, does Tyler have a guess? Does Beth have
No,
a guess?
I haven't seen Thailand since.
I haven't watched it in a long time, so I couldn't.
Okay,
answer.
my favorite, one of my favorite top 5, maybe top 10, maybe top 5 loved one visits of all time was Jake and his wife Jenny. I thought they were. I'm not a sap at
Aw.
all.
Yeah.
I thought it was very sweet and
Do
very
you
cute.
miss having the loved one visits on Survivor?
Yes. I mean, okay, so
I feel like after 40, they can't top that, right?
Well, okay,
Yeah.
41 was overrated. And okay, I will say this:
It was
Like, it was great for the
cinematography was beautiful.
it was great for the players. Like that moment was for them. It was like an homage to them, and that's great and all of that. But what did it do to the episode? Like that was one of the worst edited strategic episodes of all time. We had no idea what was going on. It was snippets of conversation with no context. If they're going to do something like that, it should be longer than 60 minutes.
Listen, cinematography wise, it was the most beautiful thing I've ever watched on Survivor.
Yeah.
I was
mean, fair.
Oh, the slow-mo and the music and like the fading in the background, and this is blurry, and like, oh god, like the focus right here of this in particular embrace and like the fingers touch and like just stuff like that. And I was like, oh my
see
god.
fingers touching.
They were like
Like,
ET phone home, it was
That could have been an extra scene.
you know what? It would have been
Or
great. That's what why aren't we doing that? That should be a sketch of like a
Mhm.
loved one's visit, but just like make it like really weird filming. We're gonna
Oh,
do that when
yeah.
Allison comes. Tyler's gonna shoot it. Tyler's a photographer, so
We
Yeah,
all
I
know
can-
my
I can make
loved
this
one's
happen.
visit is going to be my 13-year-old Tabby Finley, who's going to be pissed the fuck off to even be outside near water. And he's going to tear up Jeff.
I love the idea that somebody has a cat come out as their loved.
I don't have anyone that would. I wouldn't even ask my husband to feed. Like, I'm serious. I would just bring my
I'll
cat.
do it.
I'm my grandson and my cat.
Could I be your loved one?
You could be my loved one. We've already Tyler and I have talked about how with his luck, I'd be the one coming towards him on the island. He'd be like, we're not winning this, Jeff.
Can I get a refund?
I'm done.
Are you sure Tim's not here?
Right. Or
My
Sora.
husband, Sora, my boyfriend. Yeah, my gosh. I would choose like a random survivor castaway from who would like
Ooh.
I've never like met before and just been like, this is put you down as my reference. Here we go.
To give good
You're my loved
advice.
one.
Like a random survivor player that like nobody really talks about.
Yeah.
like Chelsea Meisner. Like we stand her on this podcast,
love
but
her.
nobody ever talks about her. Like, what if she's like your loved one visit?
I think she's
That's
too
what-
busy.
about
She's
that.
an influencer now.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, she's gonna be influencing a win for my loved one's visit.
Fair enough.
Hey, word.
Okay.
Well,
On that
Fair
note, we should
enough.
probably end this.
yeah.
Once again, thanks for joining us. And thank you all for tuning in. If you would like to become a patron and support our show, you could do so at patreon.com/myweeklymeltdown. You can also subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else that you get your podcasts. Be sure to like and subscribe to us here on YouTube as well. Turn on the alerts so that you know when we go live.
And Omer, I noticed, is that your handle next to your name?
Yeah.
Is
No,
that
it's
like,
not my handle anywhere. I
not-
just love cockatoos.
okay.
He loves
Well,
birds.
Yeah.
Hey, if people want to find you and troll you and tell them how much they love you,
If you want people to be mean to you, where can they find you?
if you want to be told that you look like ET,
So
Reese
if
Witherspoon
you
had a
want
baby.
to troll me, you can find me at Marianne O'Ketch at Marianne O'Ketch on Twitter. Otherwise, I'm Omer here, DVM on Twitter, and Ozahir24 on Instagram.
Awesome. Well, we really appreciate you joining us for the show
Well,
tonight.
thank you for
It means a
having
lot.
me.
And
I
we
appreciate it.
We do a rewatch. We're calling you.
Sounds great. I'm here in this
Excellent.
basement doing nothing. So,
Let's do it.
all right.
All right. Thank
All right,
you all for
everybody.
watching. Have a good night.
Bye.